to the cloud. All right, well, welcome everyone. For those of you that are watching the recording, you missed a little bit of the fun that we were having. Time out, by the way, Tara. Emma Christ and I are becoming besties. She's constantly messaging me, which if you guys don't know, it's John Chris's sister, and we're becoming like BFFs. So anyways.
As long as it gets me FaceTime with her brother.
Yeah, I haven't got there. I think that'd be a little early in the relationship. Be like, hey, can my sister FaceTime your brother? Come on.
That's okay. His cousin just came back from Alabama.
Nice. Okay. People on the call are probably like, what are these girls talking about?
Go check out John Christ. He's the most amazing, funny person on the planet. And I have a small crush on him.
You need
small
to
crush.
Joy and laughter.
Okay, I have a very large crush on him.
Yeah.
Like, it's big.
Like have it in.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so.
Okay, I will mute myself. I'll stop.
Done. Okay, so it's the Sunday night team call. It is Sunday, April 28th, 2019. This is our last team call for the month. And I believe that this will be our last team call as an executive region team. I believe that the next time we have a team call, we will be a brand new nation with two new regions in Gual. It's going to be amazing. So I'm just so excited. I'm so proud of you guys. If you are new to the team, or you're watching the recording, this is a team huddle. We call them a team huddle. It's a team call for my region as well as Lori Huffman's region. And so we're just excited to have you guys on. And I believe, Lori, you and Edie you're in Grandma and Grandpa's bathroom there. I know that bathroom any day. Are you guys getting ready to go somewhere? Yes. Can you unmute? Share with us what you're doing.
Yeah, this is what happens
at night. Go to bed. No, just kidding.
We're going to our DA this night.
Yes, college DA has to be late at night.
College DA, to make them show up, we got to show up in nighttime hours. So that's what we're just now putting makeup on for the first time today.
That's amazing. What time is the DA at? 8:30? 9?
Yeah, I'm kind of running a little late.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's awesome. So those girls are in Arkansas. They traveled over to Arkansas today to do a Discover Arbonne. But so we're just so excited to have you guys on, and there is so much excitement. And before I share anything tonight, I just want you guys to know that Lori and I are both so proud of you. We're just so proud of not only what's being displayed, but what is being done that isn't showing up in web stats. Because what I want to remind each of you of is that there is a lot of work that is done. There is a lot of conversations happening. There's a lot of process of sponsoring going on, and it doesn't always reflect in your web stats. And this was actually something that Lori and I were talking about because you always do want to be the best player on your team, right? We talk about that you want to be the number one consultant in your team. And sometimes you might feel like, I don't know if I'm the number one consultant because so-and-so has, like their numbers are better, showing more. But being the number one consultant, here's what you need to remember. You only need to compete ever with yourself. You only need to do better today than you did yesterday. You only need to be willing to have one more uncomfortable conversation or reach out to one more person than you did yesterday. That grows you and that stretches you. Being the number one consultant in your own business means you're just the most consistent. You're the last one standing. You're the one that casts the biggest vision. That's all that means. And you don't desire to be the number one consultant in your team so that you can be the number one consultant. You desire to be the number one consultant on your team so you can be modeling and leading for others what it looks like for them. So that is one thing. And so I just want you guys to know that we're just so proud of you. I shared it on the live on Friday night, but there really are so many people calling and voxing me and messaging me, and I feel like they know you guys by name. They are like, how's so-and-so? Where's she at? And what's going on? And they're just so excited, and it's building so much belief and hope for so many other teams in Arbonne. It's just a really awesome thing to see. So this is our last huddle before close night, right? We've got close night coming up on this Tuesday night, which is going to be such a fun night. We will be rolling out the information about close, location, and then also we will be doing it via Zoom. So we would love for you all that are not local to be hanging with us on close. But as we kind of move into these next few days, I really wanted to just focus on how we're going to make close really our best close ever. Because here's the thing. We are absolutely within reach of completing this nation qualification. And I'm choosing to believe that even though there is what might feel like a gap, and a gap is from where we are to where we need to be, I believe that in the next 48 plus hours, we will close that gap. And here's the truth of this, that in order for us as a large team to close that gap, your own personal business, the gap that you're seeing from where you said you wanted to be at the beginning of this month, whether it's promote to DM, whether it's qualify for the next level, bonus in your level, whatever that is, finish your level, that gap that you're seeing, in order for us as a team to promote and close that gap for you is going to close too. Okay. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes about some of those quotes that I shared this morning. And it was funny, last night I was hanging out with my girls, and I love Instagram stories. It's kind of like one of my highlights. Like, I save Instagram stories for the end of the day because they're just a place that I really just enjoy seeing people's stuff. And what the quotes that I shared last night, and that I'm going to share a couple different ones tonight, were from a friend. And I met him through working with YWAM, the missions organization, and he lives out in California now. And I just thought that those quotes were so timely. And I love that when we have times where it's like, gosh, I just need to be reminded, or I just need to be encouraged, that things like Instagram stories can do that. And so I wanted to pass those on to you guys this morning, and I want to talk about them tonight because they were so focused around what are we going to believe for. And one that I didn't share is that he shared is that the question of the hour is not, Lord, what should I do, but what should I believe? And regardless of where you are in your own faith journey, whether that is something that you're like, oh, I can relate to that, or oh, I can't relate to that at all, I think that it drills down to not only whether it's for you a relationship with God or not. So many times it's not, what's most important is not what are you going to put your hand to, what are you going to act on, but what are you going to believe for? Because the belief is what will propel the action. The belief is what will elevate the action. That energy will be elevated in our effort when our belief is solidified, right? So if you believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that what you're offering is the most incredible thing, it will propel you to act. And when you act, because your belief is firm and secure, it creates more energy around that action. It creates more energy, more expectation around that asking or that activity. So think about for yourself, what do you need to start believing for? Or what do you need to keep believing for in your Arbonne business? Because that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about your Arbonne business. What do you need to believe for, and what do you need to keep believing for that you haven't yet seen? Because another quote that he shared, I can't remember if I shared this, but just because it's true for you doesn't make it truth. And what I love about that, so I want you to hear this, just because it's true for you doesn't make it truth, which means, how does this relate to your Arbonne business? How does this concept relate? This means what might be true for you is that you don't have a team of 10 aces, 10 go-getters. That doesn't mean that that is the truth, that that is the beginning and the end of your business. It just means what you're seeing right now. It might be what you're experiencing right now. You might feel like, Missy, for the month of April, I have planted seed after seed after seed after seed. And what is true for you is that you're not yet reaping a harvest. But that doesn't mean that the truth is that if you plant seeds, you won't get a harvest. Does that make sense? So many times we have to align our beliefs. We have to align our thinking with what is the truth, which the truth of the principle of sowing and reaping is that when you sow, you will reap. There's not a set timeline on when you reap, but you have to know the truth of the principle of when I sow into my business, I will reap. What you might be experiencing as true right now is I have been sowing into my business and I'm not yet reaping. Does that make sense? And if you guys have questions on this, we can definitely, I want to know those so that this is lining up and making sense. But this is where our thinking and our mindset needs to be, because I will tell you guys, going through this promotion of growing, of completing this nation qualification is the first time in my own business that I've gotten to be a part of something like this. Linda Hefner was a national vice president before I started my Arbonne business. So I didn't ever have the opportunity to be a part of a team that was growing and moving to something so big together. And so for you all, this is actually a gift because it's giving you like a practice run. It's giving you a chance to believe and to be a part of and to grow this muscle of minding your mind, right? Because every time you're growing from where you are to where you want to be, how many of you are like, oh my gosh, I so have to mind my mind on this deal? Because it's very easy to look to the left and to look to the right. And if you haven't watched the live from Sarah Wilson, I would recommend doing that, because one of the phrases that she said was hold my gaze. That we hold our gaze, that we keep our eyes on doing that next right thing. We don't look to the left. We don't look to the right. We don't just look at our web reports or our dashboard as what is true, right? Because that's not always showing what is true. Or the truth, it might just be showing what's current or what's happening in the moment, okay? So you guys have this awesome opportunity to really grow this belief muscle, to grow this mindset muscle that you will be able to build on for your own business, and then as you start and help other people. Because as much as you have to have a minding of your mind to go from consultant to district and to believe for things that you've never seen before, it's the same at every level. You're always going to be believing for something you've never seen before. So you have to mind your mind. Another quote that was in this story last night was that life isn't about doing great things. It's about doing small things with great faith, right? And that's where we go back to, well, what does it look like to be that number one consultant on your team? It's doing the next right thing. It's doing the next ask. It's being consistent, holding it in this expectation of this is going to yield far bigger and beyond and more than I could ask or imagine. Okay. When I went and did a party that Lori Huffman showed up to 3.5 years ago, I was just being faithful to go do the next right thing and look at the fruit that it has produced, right? So I went into that event just like I go into every event, doing a small thing, holding it in great belief that my next business partner could come out of that. And not only did my next business partner come out of that, but now it has grown into this beautiful team that's growing, and not only what they're contributing, but just who they are as people and all of the relationships and all of the friendships, right? So it's in this business, it's not always looking for these like, this big thing you're going to go do. It's just being faithful to do the next right thing, holding it in the belief of great faith, which is what you're going to want to be doing, which is what I'm going to ask you to do, which is what I'm going to challenge you to do in these next 48 hours. Because right now, you're going to be tempted to say, this is as far as I can move my business. This is as far as I can move my business. I did what I did. This is the response I'm getting. I'm hearing from people. I'm not hearing from people. My activities fell through, or so-and-so who was going to sign up changed their mind, or they're waiting for next Friday's paycheck, or whatever it is, right? And you will be tempted to stop. But I'm going to ask you to think about, what do you need to believe for? Realizing that this business is held in the next right thing, the next small thing, holding it in this vision of a great return, and and believing for that gap, whatever that gap is. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. You could be at $0 tonight. And at the end of close, Tuesday night in 48 hours, you could be a new district manager. That's the gap. Can you believe for that gap? Can you believe that you can help somebody on your team who's at $250 right now? Can you believe that they could get to 6,000? Do you believe that someone who's sitting at 1,500 QV could get into qual for area? Can you believe that gap? And if deep down you're like, no, I can't believe it, I can't believe it, then that is an opportunity for you to start choosing to believe different. Because this is another quote that I love. Sorry. I'm trying to find it. We get to decide what we believe. I probably didn't need to look that quote up, but it's on one of the pictures. We get to decide what we believe. And I know that we can hear that and we can be like, yeah, I know. But if you're not able to believe that someone could go from 0 to 6,000 by Tuesday night, it's a choice. It's a choice. If you don't believe that you can go from 2,000 to 6,000 by Tuesday night, it's a choice. And so if 6,000 and promoting to district is where you want to be, then you choose to believe for that. You don't have to have it mapped out. You don't need to have a plan for it. You don't even have to know how that gap is going to be filled. But what you do have to do is you have to be willing to choose to believe that it is possible. And what I'm going to tell you is that in Arbonne, because you have partnered with a company that is 40 years old, because you have partnered with a company that has been successful for decades, any story of belief that you are wanting to see in your own business, more than likely has already been accomplished by at least one other person. So now, not only do you have to believe for something, but you're just believing for something that someone else has already done. So there's proof. You're not believing for something that's never been done. You're believing for something that someone has already shown you can be done. They've proven it. And I'm going to guess whatever you're believing for, or whatever that place of belief that needs to grow I could come up with example after example after example after example. I could probably name 5 people that have gone from consultant to region qual in 90 days. Debbie Neal, Claire Fisherman or Fisherden over in the UK, Gabby Lemire, Carlita Nelson, and the other girl under Mariah Gruner. Anyways, can't think of her name. There's 5 right there. Okay, so those people built businesses and they went from 0 to 90 days later being at 40,000 as a team. Can you believe for that? And you're like, but I've been in Arbonne more than 90 days. I don't need to believe that for that. You do need to believe for that, because the next person that you're sponsoring needs to know that that is possible for them. Even if that is not your story, that can be their story. And if you are not willing to believe for that, you're telling them, I'm going to believe less than for you. I'm going to believe smaller for you. I'm going to believe slower for you. And that, you guys, isn't loving people. That's not giving them the very best that we can, because the very best that we can tell someone is that they can go from 0 to being in qualifier region in 90 days. Is that the norm? Is that the average? No, of course not. But is it possible? Yes. Can you choose to believe for it? Yes. Will you? I don't know. You have to decide, right? This guy that had all these quotes, his name is Steve Backlund. And I love that he talks about, he was sharing about a couple stories from the Bible. One of them is when there was a group of people there, they were called the Israelites, and they were moving from slavery into their promised land. And they sent people ahead to kind of scope it out. And the people that went ahead came back and said, oh, there's giants in the land. We can never possess it. Like, it's horrible. We're just going to have to stay wandering in the desert, except for 2 people. The 2 people were named Joshua and Caleb. And Joshua and Caleb came back and they said, yes, there are giants in the land, but what they held their belief to was that this was their promised land. This was what they were given. This is what was part of their destiny, right? So it's not that Joshua and Caleb, they didn't deny the existence of the giants. They just had a different perspective on the giants than the other spies. So the same thing in your business. What do you believe is your promised land in this business? What do you believe is part of your destiny? If you are convinced that being a VP in Arbonne is something that, you know what, even though I've never seen it and it's kind of hard for me to believe, and I don't know, but I do know all the lives I could change, and I know all the people I could help, and I know the impact I can make. If I decided to make that a part of my destiny, and you anchor yourself to that, all of the giants along the way, you start to see differently. And the giants don't take you out, and the giants don't make you turn back, because guess what? Yep, there's going to be giants. Yep, there's going to be obstacles. Yep, there's going to be hurdles to overcome. But this promised land, this is my destiny. And the destiny that we get in Arbonne, you guys, I want you to hear me. It's not for you. It's not even for your own family. It's for all the other lives and the other people that you're going to get to impact and influence and change, because you will have the time and because you will have the resources. My vision, my prayer is that we will create such large businesses that whatever need passes in front of us and it tugs at our heart, we can open up our checkbooks and say, I got it. I'm going to be a part of that. I'm going to cover it. No problem. That our businesses would have that kind of revenue, not so that we can get bigger houses, not so that we can get fancy things. Who cares about those things? I mean, sure, they're great, they're nice, but that's not why we've been put here. We've been put here to love other people and to help other people. And so my drive, my pursuit of success, my pursuit of helping you all be successful is so that when anything that tugs at your heart passes in front of you, you can say, I can help that. I can be a difference maker. I can be a resource for that. I can be a helper for that. I can open my home for that. I can spend time on that because I have the time and because I have the finances. That's what we're building these businesses for, you guys. So your problem, the things that are facing in front of us, this gap that we're seeing, it actually is never the problem. It's the perspective that we hold. It's the same thing for Joshua and Caleb and the other spies. The problem wasn't the giants. The problem was the perspective. 2 of them saw this as like, yep, they're there. Kind of, we'll figure it out. The others were like, we got to turn back. This isn't working out. This is too hard. We won't ever be able to make it, right? So evaluate what perspective you have, because it's our beliefs that affect who and what we become. So if you desire to close the gap these next 48 hours, if you desire to move your business forward, if you desire to help those on your team close the gap, if you desire to sponsor someone into your team because you're like, Missy, I am a team of one. So every time you keep talking about your team, it is me. I get it. But every ENVP in Arbonne started as a team of one. Every single one of them. You are not alone. You are not special. You don't have some story that an ENVP cannot relate to. Everybody starts as a team of one. Okay? So you're going to believe for closing that gap. But your beliefs always affect who you become and what you do with that. So I'm just challenging you guys, because here's the thing. To me, this nation promotion, it's inevitable. It is inevitable. And it's not inevitable because I have been called to much greater things than we have the capacity to meet and influence and handle right now. We all have things that tug at our hearts. We all have people that we have been called to help and to serve and to influence. And we will do that more effectively the bigger we grow these businesses. And so that is why we are running after nation, to show people what's possible. That is why you need to run after region and run after area and run after district and run after sponsoring more people in these next 48 hours, because we need to show people what is possible for them. Do you all know how many people are going to bed tonight on a Sunday night dreading when their eyes open in 8 hours? Because the choices, their options, and what their life looks like isn't ideal. It's not even probably fun for a lot of them, but they're doing what they have to do to provide for their families, to pay their bills, to get through the day. And we get different options. Steve Backlund said last night in one of these quotes, there's a story about a man in the Bible named Gideon, and Gideon started with an army of 30,000 people, and then it got weeded down to 300. So imagine if you have a team of 30,000 and it gets weeded down to 300, you might feel like, ugh, we're going backwards here, right? But if you go and read the story of Gideon, it talks about Gideon started at the point of feeling abandoned, feeling weak, feeling insignificant, and ended up saving a nation. And he went down in size, but because it was part of his calling, it was part of what he was choosing to believe for, he was victorious. And Steve Backlund said, the future of the nation of Israel was locked up in Gideon's thinking. And when I read that, I thought, for each one of us, the future of the nation that each one of us gets to birth is locked up in our thinking. So we get to choose whether we're going to unlock it and believe that we have been given this opportunity. Not us as a nation, but you. Do you believe that you can be a national vice president? Do you believe that you've been called to be a national vice president? Do you believe that you've been given this opportunity? Because you guys, all being a national vice president means is that you've been given the privilege. You've been given the privilege to help and serve a lot of people. It's nothing more than that. Don't elevate it to something that it's not. Being a national vice president is the reward for a lot of no's and a lot of service to a lot of people. That is the reward. Like, to me, when I see someone like Cecilia Stoll, who's a 10 or 12 wide national vice president, or some of these other people, I'm like, greatest servant of all. Greatest servant of all. That's what that means. It's not most amazing leader, biggest producer in Arbonne. It's, wow, you kept serving when you didn't have to. Do you guys understand Arbonne's compensation plan? After you promote direct 4 national vice presidents, the volume that they bring in means you can retire. You can go to the beach. You don't have to do another thing in your business, and what they're producing fulfills the requirement. So when you have national vice presidents who go on to sponsor number 5 direct, number 6 direct, Cecilia's now 12 direct. That's a choosing to go out and believe again that somebody else can become a national vice president. It's a choosing to go and serve, to go and sacrifice, to go and partner, to go invest, because that person deserves this opportunity just like they were given it. Okay? So think about in your own business, are you unleashing the potential of what is possible over these next 48 hours and these next 90 and 128 days, or is it getting locked up in your thinking? And really the only thing that's holding your business from where you are to where you want it to be is your own belief. Because oftentimes it is not that I don't know what to do in this business that keeps people back. It's that I'm unwilling, or I'm unable, or I won't believe for the things I haven't yet seen. That's keeping them from where they want to be in their business. So believing for this gap, believing that this is for such a greater purpose than our own personal gain, or even the gain that it's going to bring to our own families, that, thank you, that is what I'm asking you all to put your mind around, to put your heart around, and then follow it with putting your hand to it. Because your hand, you're going to put your hand to what your heart prompts, right? You can't feel things on the inside and then do nothing about them. So you're going to put your hand to it, because putting your hand to it is going to help close that gap. But the thing that helps close the gap and keeps you wanting to put your hand to it is believing that it is possible. So I loved these quotes. I loved what they brought. I loved what they challenged in me, because I will tell you guys, for a long time, I didn't realize this, but I really had a lid on my belief of could people get to 10,000 in their first month? Could they go from 0 to 10,000 in 30 days? And for a long time, even though I would maybe nod my head when somebody said that in a training, like, yeah, maybe I could see that. What my belief was nobody will do that. That's crazy. You tell someone to do 10,000 in their first month and they're going to run away so fast from you, you're going to have just lost the only business partner that you thought you were going to sponsor into this business. So keep the bar low. Keep it at 1,000, right? That was so unloving. That was so not giving them the very best. And so when I decided to start believing for things I hadn't yet seen, I started to create those opportunities and those possibilities. And guess what? It's happened. And we're now producing more area managers. I'm going to give a shout out to Mel in Minnesota. She just promoted to area tonight. About 2-3 hours ago, which is so exciting. I know she's going to cry, and I'm going to cry. I've already cried. Here's the thing. We're producing area managers as a team. We've produced more in the last 3 years than I produced in the first 10 years of my business. Why? Belief. I believe what's possible. I know what's possible. And so now that the evidence is there, that belief gets even stronger. So you use the evidence that's all around you, you guys, to believe that it's possible for you and it's possible for those that you bring into this business. Okay? So as we close out, I'm going to ask you to believe for your gap. I'm going to ask that you can more than double your numbers. If your numbers are under 10,000, well, even if they're 10,000, you can double them. You can double them in these next 48 hours. Why? Because I have seen it to be true time and time and time again. Believe it when you don't feel it. If you need a good reminder on this, Emily Martin, who did our live a couple days ago, she was talking about doing it and then feeling it. We act and then we feel. This believing is a decision just like any other decision you're going to make for yourself. So you believe it and you choose to believe it and you speak nothing else. You speak nothing else. I know I'm going to hit it. And you can maybe internally be thinking, I don't know how I'm going to hit it. You don't say that. You say, I know I'm going to hit it. I'm giving it all. I'm giving it all. I'm giving it all. Because here's the thing, you guys, on Tuesday night at midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m, whatever it is that we all cross the finish line together, whether you made that goal or not, you're going to be farther along than you would be if you said tonight, I'm as far as I'm going to get because I've done as much as I can do. Right? So I'm going to ask you all for that. It's important for your business. Yes, it's important for the whole team. Absolutely. Every order counts. We're in a season where every order counts. But I'm going to say this boldly. This is a team effort in that I want all teams rising. This is not a team effort in where I'm rising as you guys just put in orders. We are all going to rise together in this deal because I'm not crossing this finish line without you. I'm not crossing this finish line until you all are crossing your finish lines for your business. Okay? So be all in. Let's give our best for the next 48 hours. Let's be a huge blessing to people around us. Let's offer them some specials. Let's offer them some whatever. I don't care. If you need some help on that, let me know. But let's just be a blessing. Let's stop thinking about ourselves instead of them. When we don't call people, when we don't reach out, if someone ordered on the 2nd of April and you're like, I can't call them again because they already ordered, stop it. You're thinking about yourself. Stop deciding for them. Stop deciding for them. I call people today that ordered 4 days ago. Hey, I know you just ordered, but I'm offering this little special. Would you like it? I don't know if they do or not. Some did, some didn't. It's not my job to decide. My job is to offer it to them. Your job is to offer it to them. Okay? And when we do that, I believe that there's going to be a great reward and a great return on that. So if you're local in Louisville, we have our detox dinner tomorrow night. And I know that there's one in Ohio somewhere tomorrow night as well. I know they just had the one up in Minnesota. I love seeing these happening in all of the different teams. They're so fun. If you're in a place where you're like, oh, it's just me, have a detox dinner, just you, team of one, right? Just invite some people over, tell them, hey, I'm going to have a detox dinner. Bring some friends, bring some neighbors, and just start with a team of one. If you build it, they will come. We've all seen that movie. If you build it, they will come. It's the same thing. So detox dinner this tomorrow night. If you're a consultant, bring a dish to share. That's 30 days friendly. And then we also are having our Discover Arbonne this Thursday night here in Louisville as well. And I know that Lori's doing some Discover Arbonnes and Fallon is too. So we'll post those for you guys on the team page as we get those. So anyways, look through those quotes that I posted on the team page this morning, and I might go back in there and post some of these other ones. They're just good. They just, they're going to challenge us. They're going to stretch us. They're going to cause us to really grow in really amazing ways. So before we hop off, does anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts that they want to ask or share before we wrap up tonight? You can unmute if you do. Did that make sense? The believing deal, what we position our mind around, because we got to believe for the things we can't see, you guys. We've got to believe for the things that we cannot yet see. That is how all of these businesses grow. That's how everything happens. Everything. You have to believe it before you see it. If you see it and then act, you're behind. It's gone. Moment left, right? You have to believe it before you see it, respond to it, and then you're going to see it in the natural. So anyways, all right. I love you all so much. I am so proud of you. You guys are doing amazing things, like blowing my mind. Amazing things. Can't even handle it. Tons of fun. Tons and tons of fun. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the guest MVPs that have hopped on. They have all been, they've just loved it. It's been a ton of fun. So anyways, if there's nothing else, we're going to hop off for tonight. But just love you guys. Let's go to bed tonight, really minding our mind, and then let's get up tomorrow, give it our best, and then we got one more day, and we are going to check across that finish line together. So fun. So, Katie, you just hit district manager. Woo! That's my grocery girl up in South Dakota with Tara's team. Boom. Do the next right thing. Who posted that? Renee, I love it. Do the next right thing. That's awesome, sister. That is so good. Katie, we're giving you a big shout out because you are a new district manager. Proud of you, girl. So proud of you. It's amazing. And you were promoted out by Maddie. So Maddie's now an executive district manager. That's amazing. I love it. Love it. I love it. I love it. All right. That's another fun thing, you guys. Let's kind of get maybe a little bit of fun energy on the Facebook team page. Be posting fun things like this, Renee. Be congratulating each other. Just be giving people shout outs. It's just, I think, a lot of fun. Share how you're closing the gap. You know, if you're like, I got 500 to go, I'm closing the gap, and then down to 300 or whatever it is. Let's just do this all together and be a part of something so fun and so memorable and so special. So, all right. Love you all so much. Thanks for hopping on. It's going to be awesome. All right. Have a great night, guys.